Now let's see how to use Analysis to enrich your map. When you are editing a layer, go to the Analysis tab and add New Analysis. CARTO provides a decent selection of common analysis. Let's first try this one, Enrich from Data Observatory. It allows you to add public data to your dataset. Our base layer here is GSO building. See, the selection of dataset may not be great. It has only several regions and countries to select from and only a little over 400 datasets for the United States. But who knows, you might find something interesting. Without scrolling down too much, I'm choosing this average weekly salary for education and healthcare workers, which seems interesting for our dataset. You can also search by name, or you can filter here using these different keywords to narrow down your search. Say, if we select housing, you only see the 40 datasets related to housing. Normalize allows you to use a ratio between the measurement you choose and some denominator. Here we don't have any denominator, so I leave that unchecked. You can change the time and geography here. Many time points, but there's only one geography, county level data, so I guess every building will have the same number for Fulton County. You can add additional measurements if you like. I click apply, and nothing seemed to have changed, but if you switch to the data view, we should have a new column here, average weekly wage. So the average wage in Fulton County is a little over 1,000 per week. If we have some more variation, I can style the layer by that number. Let's see what else we can use here. Add columns from second dataset is like a join in ArcMap. Intersect and aggregate is like a spatial join. And create travel distance buffers is like buffer or surface area analysis. You can also create centroids of geometries, polygons from points. Filter by column value is like definition query. Let's try that. There are not a whole lot of variables to choose from this dataset, but let's say I want to show only the first 20 buildings by its CARTO DB ID. Change it to between 0 and 20. And you see the number of points reduced on the map. You can also change your conditions. You can use equal to a value or greater than, smaller than a value. Now if you have just too many points on the map and you want to reduce them, you can use this tool, subsample % of rows. But filter lets you do more if you want to filter by certain attributes. Right? We can add the second filter on top of the first one. We just add the same analysis again. And let's say we want to filter by name this time. We want to hide Classroom South. Right? You can either show it only or hide it. Now we have only 19 points left. Imagine if you have categorical variables, say different types of buildings. You can simply use this analysis to show apartment buildings only, or you can hide all restaurants. This interesting analysis link second layer you can use together with widgets. Here, like for example, our surface area analysis is related to the student housing layer. So each student housing location has its own walking zones. Let's link these two layers. I add analysis to service area layer, link second layer. And I choose student housing as a target layer. The shared column here is facility ID. If you remember, that's the ID created by network analysis in ArcMap. So that way we can use one widget to filter both layers together. If I choose University Commons, now the service areas related to that is also getting filtered. I can do the same for the root layer, because that's also related to student housing locations. Okay, again, choosing student housing as target layer and facility ID as target column. Now I can use the same widget to filter all three layers together. We can use the find nearest analysis to identify nearest features by straight line distance. Let's try to find the 5 closest GSU buildings to each student hall. So I'm adding this analysis find nearest on the student housing layer. And I choose GSU buildings as the target. You can see multiple layers or nodes. We call analysis nodes here with GSU buildings because we added multiple analysis on them. You can either choose one of those analysis nodes to use the filtered results, or you can use the source dataset. I'm using the source dataset here. I change the number of max results to 5 and apply. Now we should have 30 points on the map with 5 GSU buildings for each student hall. If you switch to data view, you see some of these are duplicates like Centennial Hall because these buildings are closest to more than one student locations. Now there should be a source ID indicating which student hall they're closest to and closest distance showing the distance they are to the building and closest rank. We can use those values to change the style of the map. We can show different colors for the nearest GSU buildings to different student halls. Choose source ID, the attribute we want to style with. And we can show close distance by point size. Now you might have noticed that the student housing locations themselves are no longer on the map. This is because the original data is not necessarily included in the analysis results. If you want to show those, come back to list of layers, you can drag this analysis mode out of the source layer, right? So now both the source student housing and the analysis results closest GSU buildings, they are separate layers. There are other types of analysis that you can explore, but not all of those are completely free, like geocode cost credits. You have a certain amount of free credits each month, but if you're running out of credits, you have to wait until next month. You can go to your dashboard to see how many credits you have left. Now, CARTO will let you know before you perform analysis how much it costs. Sometimes it might be easier to do those non-free analysis in ArcMap before you upload your datasets to CARTO.